Get over there. There we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Two Metalheads.
Yes.
I'm your host, James, and this is
Mario.
Mario from Angry Corpses. You guys got a gig coming up, right?
Yeah, by the time this comes out, it'll probably be over. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that's true.
playing with them in Brooklyn, and the next day I'm playing with Assault, opening for Angry Corpses.
Sweet.
So,
It's
yeah,
gonna be fucking
it'll be
awesome.
fun. Yeah,
Find Angry Corpses on Instagram. Are you guys on Instagram?
yeah, they're on everything. Yeah,
Assault's on
yeah,
Instagram.
Instagram, and yeah, we after 20-something years, we now have an Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, so go
and
hit the
Facebook.
like button on both of those bands. Check them out. So tonight I want to talk about the first Pantera album. And no, I'm not talking about Cowboys from Hell, you silly geese. I'm not talking
That was
about
a good.
this one, even though I love this record.
Yes.
But I am talking about their very first album from 1983, Metal Magic. Look at that
Oh,
fucking
they
album.
must have been really young when that came out.
Yes. And for those of you watching at home, no, this is not an original. Your boy doesn't have quite that much money to spend on one record. This is a bootleg that I
I
got
was
from
I was barely alive when that came out.
1983. Look at that clear vinyl.
Wow.
So yeah, 1983, self-released, no record label.
Hmm.
Doing everything themselves, DIY. Their father, Jerry Abbott, the father of Vinnie Paul, and at this time his name was Diamond Darrell, did the production for this, recorded at his studio, Pantego Studios. And yes, these dudes were very young when they made this record. Dimebag was 16 and Vinnie was 18 when they made this. I'm not sure how old Rex was, and I'm not sure how old Terry Glaze was. Terry Glaze is the first singer for Pantera before Phil. He did Metal Magic, and he did Projects in the Jungle, the second album. Let me give you a better. I got this one on vinyl too. Again, a bootleg. Terrible album cover, just as bad as the first one. And then I Am the Night.
Oh yeah.
So these albums, Metal Magic is 83, Projects is 84, I Am the Night is 85. And then Phil Anselmo joins the band. Look at Phil with his big hair and shit. Fucking cocksucker. 1988, Power Metal. A
Were they
noticeable shift in sound on this record. This is when the glam kind of stopped. They started getting a lot more Judas Priesty.
were they like I mean it was an era where I was too young to know if they were known. You know, because Cowboys from Hell was the breakthrough, really.
Right. That was the smash. That was what got them in the door as far as nationwide
Yeah.
and,
But they were
kind
touring.
of worldwide a little bit.
They were touring in the 80s, though.
They were touring. They weren't touring to the extent of Cowboys from Hell, but they
No.
were touring. They were way more well known in the Texas bar scene than anything else. They were a band that, back when you booked a show and it was just your band and you played 3 sets and you played fucking 17 hours in a day or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and they did Ozzy covers and Van Halen covers and shit.
Like, I know of a band that like Pantera opened for them when they came to New York, you know, in the
Okay.
80s. So
What band?
I think they opened for Toxic.
Yes. Yeah.
Now,
All right.
I don't know if it was a tour. It might have just been a one-off. But
Right. No, I think that was
I
a
don't know
tour.
about it.
I used to know the drummer from Toxic, Tad, that played on the
Okay.
first two albums.
The,
And
the, that, the guy that teaches me guitar taught Ted how to play guitar also.
oh no shit.
Even though he taught all the guys in Toxic. Even though
Okay.
they're not there anymore, but one of them is.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think there's only one OG dude left in Toxic. Because
Yeah.
they just put an album out like 2 years ago or something. And it's
Oh,
just that dude Josh.
yeah. But yeah, my teacher taught him also. Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I think that was Power Metal that they
Probably it
opened
was
for
probably.
Toxic, or Toxic opened for them. I don't know who the headliner was, but
No, I think they opened for Toxic. I
Pantera
think
opened for them.
yeah. I mean Toxic was New York, so and Pantera
Right.
probably wasn't yet. So
Yeah. And Toxic was on Roadrunner.
and the promoter probably did the right thing because you know how many times I went and played a show and there was a band from like Mississippi and they were headlining and nobody knew who they were. So nobody
Yep.
stayed and the promoter put them on last instead of the band that lived there. You know, like you
Yeah.
put the band, that drove how many hours instead of the band that drove 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
I've seen that happen a few times too.
Yep.
So yeah, 1983, Metal Magic. I am very excited to hear your opinion on this because I've been listening to this album for a while, like years. Have been listening to this in bootleg form, various copies that I've had throughout the years of these old albums. So I'm very excited to hear, what do you think about Metal Magic?
It's very much like Kiss.
Yes.
I know that. Yeah. Um, I think for the time period, it was. I mean, it's production's not the best, but for the '80s, it's probably decent. And I
Pretty
think
up to
I don't know
par.
if I mean I don't. A lot of what I heard might have been remastered too, which always, sometimes it just doesn't sound great when they remaster things.
Right.
It's too bassy or something. Sometimes, yeah. But yeah, I just immediately thought of Kiss when I heard it.
You
You
can't
know,
help it when that first song kicks in. Immediately,
Detroit
Ride
Rock,
My Rocket is fucking Detroit Rock City. It just is.
yeah, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I know Dimebag like Kiss, and
Oh, yeah.
as a 16-year-old, you're probably emulating. I know a lot of the stuff I wrote when I was 16 probably sounded very Metallica like.
Right.
So, you know,
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the riffs I came up with when I was 16 years old sounded like Black Sabbath leftovers. So
yeah,
it is what it is. So,
yeah.
you got to be a little forgiving. Did you have any
Whatever
favorite
happened.
tracks?
I mean, I actually liked the first one just because it's fun.
Right.
Yeah, but whatever happened to that singer?
He's doing a bunch of different things now. He had a band in the 80s or late 80s called Lord Tracy. They were
Oh,
kind of,
that.
I think they might play him on Hair Nation every once in a
Yeah.
blue. They were like a C or D level glam band. Um, He does bar band stuff like covers and shit down south. And he's got a newer group right now called Evil Fraley. So like Evil Knievel and Ace Frehley. It's not bad. It's, I would go see him just because that's the OG singer from Pantera. But it's nothing that I'm like, oh, I gotta get my hands on it immediately. You know what I mean? But he's still doing it. He's still playing.
Good. Good.
Yeah, no doubt. I
Did they
love.
ever? Did they? I don't like. I've seen lots of different concerts when Pantera came out with that like series of video VHSs when we were younger. Probably. I don't know if you
Yes.
saw like. Did they play any of those songs? Like
No.
the older? I don't remember them playing any of that. Nothing off Power Metal with Phil or like I don't.
I don't believe once they got to Cowboys, I don't believe they did anything off of Power Metal anymore. It was like they kind of just shed the whole back catalog and we're like, we're this new thing now, and that's in the past. I have read interviews with Rex where, people have asked him, dude, what about like re-releasing, remixing, remastering, maybe even throwing in some live shit, some demos, doing all that old stuff with Terry and the first album with Phil. And he's like, nah, because that's not Pantera. That's not the essence of Pantera. The essence of Pantera is Cowboys from Hell Forward. And that's all we give a shit about. That's all we acknowledge. Fuck the original singer. He's not
Isn't,
Pantera. And it's like,
isn't that kind of like saying, "Hey, we were posers up until Cowboys from Hell"? Like
it sort of is.
not embracing that maybe you evolved. But I mean, like, I like everything from hair metal all the way to death metal, but I wouldn't take
Me too.
my glam metal band and change it into a death metal band. I would just do something different, you know.
Good point. Good point.
Weird to,
I don't know if maybe because the name was already sort of kind of established, they were just like, yeah, let's move in this other direction and call it
yeah,
Pantera.
but if anybody loved them because of their hair metal stuff, they're not gonna like Southern Trendkill. You know, like
That's very true.
as extreme as Pantera got, you
Yeah.
know.
And that album gets pretty goddamn fucking extreme.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I don't know if they were embarrassed. I remember watching the VH1 Behind the Music and Vinnie Paul talking about transitioning out of that period and going to Cowboys. And he goes, we just had a fucking talk with each other one night and we decided that the magic clothes aren't getting us anywhere and the music needed to be heavier. So they just started dressing in t-shirts and jeans like we do and fucking started playing a heavier, more aggressive style. And they just completely abandoned what they did for 4 albums before that.
I mean, Cowboys from Hell wasn't. I don't. I mean, it was. I don't even know what kind of metal I would call that. You
I gotta
know.
be honest, power metal and Cowboys from Hell ain't all that far apart. Really ain't, especially Phil's vocal wise. It
Do you
really
think?
ain't all that far apart.
Do you think that Phil's vocals might have had something to do with them changing a little bit? Like, hey, you might be able to sing a little better if we do this.
Possibly, because on power metal, it's Judas Priest worship. It's like if you think this is Kiss worship, power metal is fucking Judas Priest worship. So the music
Yeah.
does get a lot more aggressive and a lot more metal, but
Yeah.
pretty much all the vocals from Phil on power metal are very Rob Halford.
Hmm.
Even more than what you hear on Cowboys from Hell, because Cowboys from Hell is when he started throwing in growls and more raspier kind of,
Yeah,
thing, and the tough guy image was starting to come into.
but also like I don't know how well Phil was able to hit some of those notes live. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Like
I
time
mean,
I
you
was
get to
able to go,
see
by the time
what
I
is
was
it?
able to go to concerts, Phil wasn't singing that stuff really anymore. He was, you
Right.
know, 1990. I was way too young to go see a concert. You know,
Yeah.
by the time I saw Pantera, it was like 96 or so,
Oh yeah,
maybe
he was
90.
way done with the highs.
It was probably Trendkill era, and that there was no Cowboys from Hell Highs or Shattered or any of that stuff. He wasn't
Yeah.
singing, wasn't hitting any of those notes.
Right.
So they probably would have needed to change after a while. If he, I don't know if he couldn't, or he just stopped bothering trying to. I don't know.
I would assume the fucking cigarette smoking kind of hindered, being
Probably.
able to hit those big highs. Because if you look at the Cowboys from Hell video,
Those are
there is
great.
live shit in there. They do Heresy live and Art of Shredding,
None of the
so
high,
what's that?
none of the high stuff though.
None of the super high stuff, no. And
Yeah.
shortly after this, whenever you would hear a live version of Cemetery Gates, he wasn't hitting those big Cemetery
No.
Gates notes.
The
They were
notes
kind of
could,
starting to chop that song up.
yeah, and those notes could have they that could have never. I mean that was never probably easy to sing.
I'm sure it wasn't.
So
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't.
yeah. All right. Well,
I
I was
love
just
this
wondering.
album. Dude, there's so many good rockin' tunes on this. Tell Me If You Want It. Biggest
It
part of
was
me. Biggest
very
part of me is a very cool ballad.
it was very like sex songs for 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like,
But then
weird.
again, at this point, they're listening to lots of Van Halen, lots of Kiss.
Man.
That's mostly sex songs in there, and lots of early Def Leppard. You hear lots of early Def Leppard in this stuff before Hysteria when they were a mom rock band. That's actually how I first heard about the good Def Leppard shit, was reading Dimebag's Riffer Madness articles in Guitar World magazine and go, dude, fucking one of my favorite guitar players, Pete Willis. Listen to On Through the Night and High and Dry. And there's a lot of that in this. I recommend checking those albums out too, man. I know Def Leppard can come off very wimpy when you immediately think about them with Pour Some Sugar on Me and all that bullshit. But when Pete Willis was in the band, they were a rocking fucking band, man. They had some good songs.
I that Def Leppard was probably one of the first, like, I guess, hair bands I was listening to.
Yeah, same.
Mid '80s was, when I was probably first or second grade is when I started listening to like Whitesnake and Ugly Kid Joe and
Yep.
Green Jelly. Yeah, all that Poison. The Unskinny Bop video was like, oh, that song's awesome, for
Oh
Poison.
yeah. Hell
But
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, that would have been the mid '80s probably when I first started listening to this stuff.
Yeah, same.
That stuff that my parents weren't listening to. You know,
Right.
so yeah.
My favorite track on this is Nothing On But the Radio. I don't give a fuck how cheesy them lyrics are. That's a goddamn good song, dude. I
Well, I
wish
mean,
I wrote that motherfucker.
all the lyrics were cheesy, but but it's fun music.
It's so catchy.
Yeah.
Widowmaker, Metal Magic, Rock Out with Your Goddamn Cock Out. Fucking excellent.
Yeah.
And this is one of those albums that if by chance it did make its way to fucking New York when I was 4 or 5 years old and somehow heard this, I would have fell in love with it immediately because I was listening to all that shit.
Did you
Poison, True, Rat, Dokken, all that.
did you ever listen to Widowmaker with Dee Snider?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Great
You know,
band.
my dad actually gave that to me when I don't know where he heard it from, but he's like, hey, you might
Right.
like. He had the CD. He's like, here, you might like this, and I was like, I
Hell yeah.
loved it.
Widowmaker was a shit.
Yeah.
I got that first album. No,
I have
somewhere.
I have I have the CD somewhere too. Yeah,
Yeah, the first one, right? There was
probably.
another one too called. It had that song "Bad Rain" on it. I forgot what the name of it. What the
I only have
record was
I only have
called.
one. It was like gray, I think. I only have
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah, they did two, and then that band disbanded, and then D. Snyder made that fucking weird horror movie,
Oh yeah.
Strangeland.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's a
It was
decent flick, though.
better than the one Gene Simmons did. The weird robot spider things.
All the movies Gene Simmons did were terrible,
Well, the
except for
first one,
Detroit Rock City.
I don't remember that one.
You didn't see Detroit Rock City?
I probably did. I mean, it had to be better than Phantom in the Park, but
Oh, dude, rewatch Detroit Rock City and let's do an episode about that movie because it's fucking brilliant.
yeah. All right.
Eddie Furlong from Terminator 2 was one of the main guys in it.
Oh, when did that come out?
1997?
I probably did see it then. Yeah, I probably did. I don't remember it, but if it was in the 90s, yeah, I probably saw
That's a fucking great movie.
it.
It's a great movie. It's about these four kids that are in a Kiss tribute band and they fucking get tickets to go see Kiss. And one of the dude's moms is like super fucking religious, like PMRC fucking broad. And she finds the tickets in his jacket and burns them. So now they go to where the concert is to try to scalp tickets. It's fucking great. It's great. It's got fucking Shannon Tweed in it, and she makes Eddie Furlong come in his fucking boxer shorts. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
I gotta see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
definitely
probably
rewatch that.
I was young, but you know, the 90s was a long time ago.
Yeah, man. I was like 17 when that came out.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, I give this album a fucking, it's hard to put it in the top five because
Pantera albums or
yeah, it's hard to put it in my top five Pantera records because come on, Cowboys, Vulgar, fucking Far Beyond, Trendkill, Reinventing.
I think for me, something could take reinventing this deal's place.
Yeah,
It wasn't my favorite Pantera album. It was
I
okay.
love that one.
It was okay to me. But after Trendkill, it was like they went super extreme and then
Right.
it was back, down a little bit.
They kind of came back to sort of like Cowboys from Hellish.
Yeah, they went a little bit. But also like as time went on, like there's less guitar solos in their albums and
Kind of, yeah.
it's like I want to hear Dimebag doing solos, like
Right.
I want that.
Well, that's the great thing about this glam shit is to me personally, some of Dimebag's best leads are in these first four records.
That's probably fair. Yeah.
Because I mean they give them the room for it because it's glam. You needed to shred in glam.
Yeah. Yeah. For a band for a genre that was just full of cheese, there were some great guitar players.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You had to have a killer gunslinger guitarist in order to be taken seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
In every band, from fucking Poison to White Lion to fucking LA Guns, you had to have a shredder.
Yeah. And some of them were like White Lion, like Vito was a monster.
Yeah, he was.
It's sad that he doesn't really do anything anymore, but
It's a shame that dude don't work no more because he could immediately.
I mean, he was saying he developed like an allergic reaction to strings, I think.
Oh,
But I've seen guitar players with like the like like finger condoms or like there's a guy that plays. I've seen it on Instagram, I think, and he has a glove on while he's playing. And it
oh
must be
wow.
some sort of special glove because he doesn't mess up the sound. But there
Yeah.
also he could have. It would have sounded probably a little bit weird, but he could have used nylon strings or some sort of coated string if he really wanted to. Like somebody would
True.
have with something if he really pushed it.
Somebody would have helped him out.
Yeah, there would have. There's definitely a way he could have kept going. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't. You know, he probably could have still been. I mean, there's plenty of those '80s guitar players. Like, look at George Lynch. He's still going.
Yeah, he is.
You know, like there's plenty of those guys that were guitar heroes back then that are still working. You know,
Did you check this out?
I didn't do that yet. I didn't have time yet. Yeah,
Yeah, check them out. Sweet and Lynch fucking rocks.
I gotta check that out. Yeah,
Absolutely. George is still fucking burning it up.
yeah. Eh, what are you gonna do?
So what do you think out of 10?
Huh. I mean, it. You have to go with the first four albums, right? Like it can't. It's not like the rest of them.
Right.
Uh,
1 to 10, what do you give it?
for Pantera, oof. If Cowboys from Hell is a 10, I'd say 6.
Okay. I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
I'm going to give it an 8. I really like this one a lot. It's probably my favorite of the pre-Cowboys records. I reach for it the most. But I really do like Projects in the Jungle a lot as well. There's just as many killer songs on it. There's a whole guitar solo song on it, Blue Light Turning Red. I think you would like that a lot.
I have that album. I haven't listened to it in a long time. I think it's impressive that they were that young. Like,
Yes,
with that, you know.
absolutely.
'Cause I don't think I would have ever come up with stuff that good at 16.
Definitely not me.
Uh,
No fucking way. I wouldn't have been writing fucking nothing on but the radio at 16 years old. Fuck
no.
no.
And back then it was a lot harder to like unless you had somebody teaching you to grasp all that theory and learn to shred like that. You know, it's not like today. You really had to work. You know, like
Right.
you either had a teacher or you were dissecting solos note by note by yourself, trying to figure out what they're doing. And in 1983, there wasn't a ton of shred around yet. You know,
I mean, Van Halen,
yeah.
Ingve. Ingve was around at that
It
point. He was doing Steeler.
was a Steeler or Alcatraz.
I think he was in Steeler in 83, and then maybe Alcatraz was 84.
Yeah. I think didn't Rising Force come in like 83 or 84 maybe?
I think Rising Force might be 85.
Maybe you're right. Yeah. All that stuff like
It's close.
yeah. But I mean that's around the same time.
Right.
So it's not stuff that he grew up listening to, you know. So
Right.
to come up with that shred style, you know, he's getting it from the same place all those other guys I guess would have got it from. And
Yeah.
Halen, you
He's
know.
getting it from Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie in that first fucking two Def Leppard records.
Yeah. I mean I guess
And Randy Rhoads.
that was still 80s.
Right. But Randy Rhoads was dead in 82.
Yeah,
So I'm sure Dime was listening to Blizzard and Diary.
probably. And then you had guys like Richie Blackmore in the 70s and Yuli
Right.
John from the Scorpions. Yuli John probably had a big influence on him. He's
Michael Schenker, I think, had a bigger influence on him. I think I remember reading him
really
in what do you call it, in the guitar world, that he really liked Michael Schenker a lot.
he's in the early Scorpion days. Yuli John was the one. Like he
Yeah,
was,
he was the shit.
yeah.
He was the shit.
Obviously knew what he was doing too.
Certainly did.
For 70s, that was as shred as you were gonna get, you know.
Right.
So
Don't forget, you also had the dudes in Priest and Maiden too, though. Priest
yeah,
goes back to the 70s.
they were never shredders. They were tasteful, but not like I would never put those guys in like as uh the top guitar players.
No?
Not for lead, no.
Wow.
I
Okay,
mean,
that's an interesting
not
take.
bad. They're not bad. There's just, and I think the guys in Judas Priest obviously studied because as the albums went on, they got more aggressive.
Right.
You know, but like they're good with harmonies, and they were always good with melody and stuff. They weren't really shredding. You know, when it comes to that kind of stuff. They
Yeah,
were
I guess Priest was a little more bluesy, especially in the 70s.
even Maiden. They're not crazy. Like you could listen to old Scorpions, and they were solo wise more aggressive than Maiden stuff. Uli John was way more of a monster than the guys in Maiden were. You know, it's just musically they were more, like musically they were more aggressive. Solo wise,
Yeah, like the songs were more aggressive themselves, not necessarily the leads.
yeah,
I
yeah.
see what you're
I think
saying.
they were better.
That's an interesting take.
For me, Maiden, they were better at creating harmonies and melodies than they were at solos.
Right.
At least for me, you know.
Okay. You're gonna get some comments. you're gonna get some fucking comments on that shit. I mean, I
Fine.
can't argue with you at all because Uli John Roth, god damn, that dude could fucking play. That
Yeah,
dude definitely could fucking play.
look at
Yeah.
look Maiden compared to all the hair metal bands. You think those guys could have competed with Paul Gilbert? That was not happening.
No. No, that's
Paul
very
Gilbert
true.
probably would not have worked in Iron Maiden, but
No.
Racer X is the same. It's early '80s. You know, it's
True.
same. Like there was a lot of guys like Paul Gilbert and Steve Vai, and you know, you had a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
Trying to think of some other ones like where their solos, Ingve, the solos were melodic, fast, and detailed. You know, so like you know, you could listen to Maiden for guitar work. It's just I'm not even saying the solos were bad. I'm just saying that when it comes to shredders of the '80s, I wouldn't think of putting Maiden in there usually.
Okay.
You know, as much as I like Maiden, you know,
I love Iron Maiden, yeah, but that's an interesting
you
take.
know,
Most
and Maiden has. You've played in bands with me. Maiden has obviously had an influence on me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Harmony wise, they were great at that
Right.
stuff. And the galloping,
Yeah.
when it came to solos, I was looking at Paul Gilbert, Yngwie Malmsteen, you know, those guys in the '80s. Even you know, even the guitar player from Slaughter, who I can't remember his name, he was a beast. Vito Bratta, you know, those guys,
No Brada, yeah.
you know. So I wasn't looking to them like or Marty Friedman. I mean, it wasn't '80s. I guess he was more late '80s. I guess '90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but well, Cacophony
Jason
was.
Becker.
I didn't know him that well because like by the time he was not able to play anymore, it was it was so young in my life that I never got
Right.
him. But the album he did with David Lee Roth was awesome.
Hell
Like if you
yeah.
listen to like his early stuff up until David Lee Roth, like a lot of the early stuff was a lot of flash and there really wasn't any, it was just look what I can do stuff, which I get.
Right.
Everybody does that when they're young. And then he did the David Lee Roth album, and you were like, he's figured it out now. He's
Yeah.
toured. This is great. And then he wasn't even able to tour for that album. He barely finished the
Right.
album. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
and I mean he probably would have been a monster after that.
I'm sure he would have, yeah.
You know? So
Yeah, he had a long career ahead of him.
yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Steve Vai came back and did that tour, but I'm not positive.
Was that Your Filthy Little Mouth or A Little Ain't Enough?
A little late enough.
That's it.
What was it? Filthy. I remember
Is
Sky.
it with the little devil on the cover?
Yeah, there's a.
Yeah, I think that's A Little Ain't Enough.
Only 3 albums, right?
What's that?
Is there only 3 albums, or was there 4?
From David Lee Roth?
Yeah,
No, there's like 5 or 6.
I only have 3 of them. I think I have the 2 with Steve Vai.
Makes sense.
I have Eat 'Em and
Yep.
Smile, Skyscraper, and then A Little Ain't Enough.
Little Ain't Enough. Then there's Your Filthy Little Mouth.
Who played guitar in
Then,
that? I only did the first 2, right?
couldn't tell you.
Huh.
Couldn't tell you who played guitar on that one. But then there's one called the DLR Band.
Okay.
And it's got an American flag on the cover and a picture of Betty Page on top of it. And then there's one just called Diamond, where it's a picture of him like sitting like in a fucking in like a what do you call it, like a Barca lounger fucking chair, and like the wind is like blowing his hair back, like in the Maxell commercials from when we were kids. The guy put the fucking tape on, and fucking shit was blowing his head back. So he's got at least 5, and then Crazy from the Heat. There's that EP where he does California Girls.
I remember that video.
So do I.
Steve Vai was in that video with the double harp guitar, wasn't he?
No, he didn't have Steve Vai at that point.
But Steve Vai had the double harp guitar. It's in his studio. So what album? What did he use that on?
I think that might be on Yankee Rose.
Yeah, I don't remember what song though. Yeah, because there was a thing when there was a group of us went and hung out with Steve Vai and we signed a guitar and it's in his studio, and then he sent all of us the like a video of his studio. This is full of all the guitars he's played throughout his career, and the big purple heart with the double neck is in there. I'm like, oh, that's it. Yeah, that's cool.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and then I got to be on a song with. So.
What's that?
I got to be on a song with Steve Vai.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's called.
Where can we hear that?
I think it's on. I don't know. It's on. It's called Flash Mob, I think.
Okay.
I think it was sent to me. I think it's on iTunes. It might be It might be a single though. It was
okay.
He just kind of took everybody through the writing, and then we were like, well, let's record it. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
Go to iTunes and fucking download that shit.
His whole band
was it called? Flash Mob?
Yeah, I think it was Flash Mob. Pretty sure that's what it was called. It sucks too because I'm on stage jamming with him, and all the pictures I have of it are fucking blurry.
Oh, that blows.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And there's a video, and the video's blurry too. I'm like, oh, of course.
Of course. Cocksucker.
Yeah, I was like his band. It's his band and everything, and there I am, blurry.
Blurry.
Yeah.
One day. At least you got to jam with Steve Vai.
Yeah, it was cool.
At least you got to jam with Steve Vai. That's pretty fucking dope, man.
Yeah, it was fun, and he wasn't overly aggressive with putting you in your place or any of that stuff. He didn't. He was just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A lot of those guys probably could. Although, they asked beforehand because, okay, so do you gig this with you? I think it was to gauge, yeah, go ahead, you can have fun with him. He can hang.
Okay, so yeah, they're trying to see if you had experience and stuff.
Yeah. So, I wasn't. I think he realized what was going on when I'd watch his bass player to see what his bass player was doing, because I could see the notes then. As opposed to great chords or harmonies he's playing, I could look at his bass player and go, all right, I know where I am. So yeah, it was cool. It was a fun time.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear he's like a cool cat too.
He was very cool. Yeah.
You know.
Well, he said the '90s kind of smacked him into his place when nobody cared that he could play. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because the '90s guitar solos kind of fucking went by the wayside.
yeah, that's when he started his solo thing too. So
Right.
I guess that was after Whitesnake. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Because what? Kitten, what's that album when kittens got claws? Flesh and Blood? No, not Flesh and Blood. That's the newest one. You fucking idiot. Slip of the Tongue.
There you go.
Slip
Yeah,
of the Tongue's got to be like, I think that's like 89, 88, 89.
probably something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So after that, you got Bad Horsey and all that stuff. That's like early to mid '90s.
Well, his first solo album, I believe he released while he was in Whitesnake.
Oh, okay.
I think. But then, like, he also was in that movie where nobody really knew who he was, Crossroads.
Crossroads, yeah.
Like, he played the devil, the guy that sold his soul to the devil. Nobody knew who he was at the time, really, unless you
Right.
unless you were a guitar player. But I watched that battle as a kid so many times. You know, like,
Oh, dude, that movie rules. Every time that was on TV, I stopped what I was doing and watched that.
I still have it on VHS. You know, like,
Awesome.
yeah,
That's a nice relic.
yeah, it's an awesome
That's a
movie.
fucking nice relic.
Yeah,
Isn't it? I heard it was Ry Cooder that did all Ralph Macchio's parts.
the blues stuff he did. Yeah,
Okay.
but the classical stuff that he actually won with was Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So go figure. He's like, I had
Fucking Cooder.
a.
Fucking cocksucker.
Fuck.
Fucking Ry Cooder. What about wait. Ry Cooder. What about fucking Pumpernickel Pecker? Fuck yeah. Cocksucker.
Like, what the fuck are these two idiots talking about?
Somebody's gonna know. There's he's doing chip again.
Well,
So
I guess
what do you guys think
yeah,
about this record? Metal
let us
Magic.
know.
Go listen to it. Do you like glam? Do you like Van Halen? Do you like the first couple Def Leppard records before they turned into a fucking mom rock group?
And Kiss.
Do you like early Kiss? Go check this one out. Give it a listen.
Yeah,
Write in the comments. Tell us what you think about it.
yeah,
If
right.
I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If he's wrong, tell him he's wrong.
Yeah, tell me I'm wrong so I can tell you to go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit.
That's what I'm going to do right away.
All
I'm going to give you the Dave White special.
See you later.
Good night, you fucks.